And a friend of mine told me that Chris and Kim had called him because he had influence inside of the black community, and had called him to say, to get him to influence people to take the vaccination.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have an opinion on that. I just want to state that as a flat statement. But it was wild that I didn't know how close my own wife was to the Clintons. I didn't know, I didn't realize it at the time.
That you were married to her?
And I was married to her.
How close was she to the Clintons?
I mean, cell phone away, or hey, tell Ye to say this away, or hey, go out and use your platform to push the vaccination away. I mean, not away, but take the away part. But
do you feel like at times you were manipulated by political forces through your wife?
Attempt manipulation. But yes, there was some manipulation. Me not saying I like Trump was a form of a manipulation.
For sure.
Yeah.
Why did you like him, by the way? You said you liked him early, like you saw him.
I mean, I keep telling this joke. If people say Trump was the first black president, I'm going to be the first Latino president. Because all the values, the conservative values just line up. Come on, man, Trump's the What do you mean? He has his own buildings. What are we talking about? He's like Ralph Lauren. Yeah. He made Ivanka.
You like Ivanka?
Yeah.
You wrote a post on Instagram about her husband today.
Yeah. I had a dinner with Ivanka, Jared, and Josh. And a couple days later, I found out that Josh Kushner had 10% of Skims, which is a line that I had developed with Kim. And I had a lot of issues with the imagery of Skims. I felt like there's a lot of imagery that was overly sexualized and things that I wouldn't want to see my wife and definitely not my daughters doing in the future in order to sell product. But it reaches another level when it's like, okay, well, this is what my wife is doing, and this is what she's doing for our children. But it reaches another level when her business partners are selling pieces of company that they don't have to, because the company's already so successful and it's an internet-based company. So it's like they're really just selling off the company in order to create more relationships for themselves that are unneeded. It's like when I went to the Gap and with our release, they just they shoveled it out. I'm very cautious with my words. I'm really big on being able to have an adult conversation in front of the children. So I don't use explicit language in interviews especially. So I found out after this dinner that Josh Kushner had 10% of Skims and I had 5% of Skims. And regardless if, Josh Kushner figured out how to put $150 million, I'm sure it wasn't out of his own account, but $150 million, and I'm sure Jared still has a piece of that fund. Regardless of them putting that money in, for me to have been an owner in it and not known, just from a place as a creative where Skims is so based on a lot of the Yeezy ideas, then it's based on all of the relationships in fashion, because I had to use my relationships in fashion in order to establish Kim in a way where fashionable people would say, hey, I'm down to wear Kim's line. And these VCs, they come in and they get a piece of it after the fact, and they run around and say they have ownership in it. So as I put on my Instagram, which, luckily for everyone, they could just write it off that, I'm crazy until they see my disposition in this interview, and then it's going to get scary. I said, hey, Josh, what if I had 10% of Carly Kloss's lingerie, shapewear, swimsuit line, and you have 5% of it, and you didn't know? How would that make you feel? And then after talking to them and really sitting with Jared and sitting with Josh and finding out other pieces of information, I was like, wow, these guys might have really been holding Trump back and being very much a handler right then. They love to just look at me or look at Trump like we're so crazy and that they're the businessmen. So when I think about all of these things that Jared, somehow doesn't get enough credit for with his work. And what is it? His work in Israel or his work in Palestine? What is this? You know where he made these peace treaties? Where was that? Do you know the facts on this right here? So I'm like...
I think that was between Israel and some of the Arab nations.
I just think it was to make money. I don't know. Is that too heavy-handed to put on this platform?
No, that's your opinion. We're not in the censorship business.
Okay, thank you. And I just think that that's what they're about, is making money. I don't think that they have the ability to make anything on their own. I think they were born into money. And for me, as a maverick and a talent and a person that's been, beat, kicked, lost everything, said to have lost my mind, went from pull myself up by my boots don't have straps on them, but I say pull myself up from my boots to becoming a multi-billionaire that gets the price every year of my net worth goes down every year on Forbes. They just keep on slowly just taking it down every year. It's like really a weird thing. But as a person that has really built something from nothing, when I sit across the table from a Josh Kushner and he just feels so entitled to that idea, and this person has never brought anything of value other than so-called being a good venture capitalist, I have a major issue with that. And it makes me feel like they weren't serving my boy, Trump, the way we could have, because, Trump wanted nothing but the best for this country. And it doesn't, Moses stuttered. And saying God is not always going to bring the most perfect personality. A lot of times the most fake people, their job is talking and making people feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And the realest people are